Another episode of Straight to the Point series. I am really excited because I'm doing a solo episode today. So with that being said, straight to the point, let's get straight to it. I had a lot of resistance in filming this episode. Not because I didn't want to, because I was really struggling to think of what to talk about. And a lot of stories were coming up for me because in this podcast, we talk a lot about the coaching industry, but specifically the business coaching side of things. And Emily and I are usually, going back and forth, and that's where I get a lot of energy. And I really realized when I was asked to do a solo episode that I had a lot of resistance because there's a part of me that still deals with imposter syndrome around stepping into my power and having a platform talking about the coaching industry. And that's it. And the reason why I say that's it is because I spent days thinking about what am I going to talk about? Oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. Like all of these stories, until I realized, and it was also brought to my attention by a couple of my friends, this is the conversation. It's already here. Because how many of us as coaches rack our brains trying to think about what to say on our stories, what to post for content, what to say in this curriculum, what's next, when the thing is actually right in front of us. And the thing for me, like what this episode and what me being here and sharing this is a couple of things. One, it's the fact that I'm being vulnerable. I'm being vulnerable and sharing where I'm really at and sharing stories that I'm actively working through in this moment in real time. It's not tying a pretty pink bow on and saying, look at all these things I got over. Like this is really how I'm feeling in the moment. And already just speaking right now, I'm clearing so much of the blockages that I was feeling in my body from speaking. And it's because I stopped trying to run away from what's actually happening for me right now and speaking from this place. And as coaches, we can become afraid and we also can reject what's actually happening because it's like, oh, well, this isn't it. It has to be somewhere else. The message, the post, the fire quote, whatever it is, has to be outside of ourselves. It has to be us in a different mood, in a different headspace. Oh, I need to be, not feeling anxious. I need to work through this limiting belief before. It's like sometimes the most powerful thing that you can say to your audience is exactly where you're at and not turning it into some big inspirational, like find yourself on the other side and share now where you're at. Sometimes like the point is you just sharing where you're at, period. Because so often in the coaching industry and for coaches is we're working through our own stories and own beliefs and blockages and insecurities. And we're like always trying to get to the other side of it so that we can share from that place. When really the coaching industry doesn't need more of that. It needs more coaches sharing where they're at in the moment. And that requires us to really put down the story that is very present right now. I've had this conversation with many different coaches and it's a story of my own too, of not looking like sharing very vulnerably about where we're at and not being on the other side of it and looking like we don't have it all together. Looking like we're not who we say we are. Looking like we are a mess. Looking like we're not an authority figure in the space because we're not showing up, at least being like serious and having something important to say or being in a good mood or whatever it is. And really what I'm noticing is that the coaching industry is changing in massive ways. And any energy of force or trying to be anything that you're not even when it feels like, fuck, I really don't want to show up and share from this place, that's where we're being asked to go. We're being asked to share from the messy middle where we're still in. I know that being in the coaching industry and being friends with coaches and also coaching other coaches is one of the biggest things that we come up against is, I don't know what to say. Oh my gosh, my voice feels blocked. I don't know what to say. When really, it's like really getting curious. Do you actually do, or could you share where you're at right now? And that's just actually really fucking scary and vulnerable because you're not on the other side of it yet. Or there are stories coming up like you're not going to be taken seriously, or people are going to look at you in a different way if you come off as a hot mess. The thing about this stage and this chapter in the coaching industry as a collective is if we are not showing up exactly where we're at and being okay with where we're at, we are going to burn ourselves the fuck out by trying to show up and be somebody that we're not. If we want our businesses to be sustainable, fuck the business plan. Are you allowing yourself to be who you truly are and be exactly where you're at emotionally and mentally and sharing from that place? Because if not, it's going to feel like you're doing a constant uphill battle of trying to get on the other side of a hard day or a hard thought or a hard moment, and then waiting to get there to then show up, when that's not what this is about. Having a sustainable business, having a long-term business, is about you embracing yourself fully in your authenticity. And that will feel scary. I'm all about authenticity, and it's still a conscious reminder for me. Like I said, I was racking my brain about what do I share and what do I do. And because I was so not wanting to come on here and say, I have imposter syndrome and I don't know what to talk about because I feel blocked because I'm afraid. And yet here I am. And sometimes that's the absolute most powerful thing you can say, because it's not always about inspiring somebody with a huge, big message. Sometimes the most inspiring thing that you can do is give somebody full permission to be exactly where they're at and to let them know that they're not alone in that. So that is what this episode is. I've also been in a week of taking care of my body, resting, integrating. I just got home from a trip back home. I was with my family for about 9 days, and I haven't seen them for, 4 months. So I was with them, and it was amazing. And I also, did a lot of inner work there, and there was a lot of inner reflection. So that's also where I'm at right now. And even me showing up from this place, it's like, see, I'm like, oh, I have to talk about something about business and it has to be this related. Whereas this really is the active message, is me sharing where I'm at right now. So yeah, I came home and I have been really integrating a lot of pieces. Integrating a lot of pieces around shifting my business. Not that things are going to absolutely completely change, but I am being initiated in a really deep way into stepping into more of my gifts, and not only stepping into them, but sharing about them. There's a difference between getting on client calls and like being in your gifts and like actively being in your power, but then not sharing about that on your actual platform. And that's something that I have really been walking through, is noticing how I'm really showing up in coaching spaces, in containers and programs, on one-on-one calls, and like really being in my gifts, more so on the spiritual side of things, my woo-woo side, and where I'm still not fully showing up as my full self on my platform because there are more eyes on me, and there's still a part of me that is afraid of being seen, afraid of not being liked or being misunderstood. So I'm also integrating that. And it's also exciting because it, at the same time that it's scary, it also feels so fucking liberating already to know that I don't have to hide any parts of myself, and that my business gets to shift and change as I do. Like, I don't have to be the same person forever. I don't have to keep up the same image of what people knew me to be in 2019 to now, because I'm not. Of course I'm not. Why would I be, and why would I want to be? And, you know, this is something that I coach women around, is letting their identity change, letting the old version of themselves burn away so that they can rise from the ashes and shift and pivot and allow themselves to be reborn into somebody else. That's what we're all here to do. So I've been really working through and navigating my own pieces around that, my own fears around that. And I also, the day after I got home, I sat with Combo. And for those of you who don't know what Combo is, I just looked it up on Google, so I didn't botch that. I want to give you correct information. Combo is a substance derived from the natural secretions of a frog, typically found in regions of South America, such as the Amazon in Brazil. In these geographical areas, Combo is used for recreational and purifying purposes during sessions characterized by a strong spiritual component. So what that means is it's basically frog venom that is secreted out of the frog. And what you do is I went to the ceremony with the intention, and what this medicine really does is cleanses, detoxes, and purifies you on every level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. So it's used for many different things. It's antibacterial, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antimicrobial. It helps you release stored trauma. It helps you release stories and ways of being that aren't serving you. It helps you release energies, entities, anything that is not serving you, other people's energies. It really just helps you do a full cleanse, full clean slate. So I said yes, and I sat in ceremony, and what they do is they take a hot stick, which, Jesus Christ, I literally was freaking out. I also have a fear of being burned, so I'm voluntarily doing this knowing that I'm going to be burned. And the reason that they burn is because the shaman takes a small hot stick and lights it on fire, and then creates usually four burns, like dots. And typically they can be on the back, they can be on the arm. Mine was on my ankle. That's like the traditional way to do it. And they do the 4 burns as dots. I'm looking down at them right now. Still healing, still fucking hurts. I wore skinny jeans out last night and went dancing, and my freaking Combo burns were burning. So they burn the skin because that opens up the pathways to the lymphatic system. And so once they open up the pathways, then you sit and you kind of let the pathways open, and then the shaman comes back around and then puts the frog venom on top of where they open the skin so that it soaks into your skin. And within about 1.5 to 2 minutes, what I started to experience, which is normal to experience, and what happens in this process is my heart rate started going up. My whole body felt really hot and got really flushed. My hands started tingling, and I just noticed a lot of sensations coming up. It was like a lot of physical sensations. And then after that, probably about 2 minutes later, which is as expected, you typically will get nauseous. So with this medicine, you either have a top purge, puking, bottom purge, you know what that means. And then some people have emotional purges, but it is pretty typical that you either have a top or a bottom purge. Most people have a top purge. My nausea came, and I was like, oh gosh, like I haven't thrown up since like 2019. And that was like not one of my best moments in 2019. I was in Miami with my sister, and I started, getting nauseous, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I thought that I was like letting it happen and like, okay, I'm going to surrender to the medicine. Like I'm going to let it do what it wants to do. And then I basically, all the symptoms left my body. Like I got super flushed, super nauseous, everything. And then it just shut down. And what happened in that moment for me, I realized, is that I was afraid of feeling out of control. Specifically, I was brought back to the last time I threw up, which was in 2019, from drinking. I really never drink to that point ever, nor do I enjoy it. And I threw up in 2019. It just wasn't a fun night. And it brought me instantly back to that moment. And instantly I'm in this very cleansing, healthy, like healing experience. And I was just met with shame. Like, you're out of control. What are you doing? It brought me back to, I was with the shaman with my friends on this piece of land, but I was literally in Miami, like over this toilet puking. And why that triggered me so much is because my parents are both recovering alcoholics, and I am the sibling who has a deep fear, am working through. It's really not as much my story anymore, but have really worked through a deep fear of being, feeling, or looking out of control. Because I have lived through, been through, and seen what happens when people are out of control, and the harm that causes, and the wounding that causes. All those symptoms went away. And the shaman came over and was like, are you okay? Like, how are you feeling? And I was like, I don't know what happened. Like, it just all left my body. And he came back around and gave me 2 more dots of the medicine on my ankle. And he came back behind me and did some work on my lower back. I was getting really deep pains in my back, my lower back, and my womb space, which is all around safety and feeling grounded. And a big part of me was like, nope, like this isn't okay, right? Because I was trying to control. So like I was like mentally like, no, like be here, surrender to the medicine. But it was all in my head because physically my body was like feeling me resisting. So he came behind me and did some body work, and just instantly I got sick. And in that moment, it really showed me and healed a lot for me around there's a difference between not having control and letting go. And in that moment, I let myself go. I let myself and let my body do what it needed to do. I told myself, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. You're safe to feel your feelings. You're safe to let go of what's no longer serving you. It's safe to feel good. It's safe for you to be in your power. And for so many years, I had an unhealthy relationship with control, right? What this allowed me to do in this moment, because I got sick and that was it. Like, it was actually a very quick, loving, like, straight to the point, no pun intended, experience. And that was it. And what I realized, and I was talking to my friend Morgan about this last night, is how it allowed me to actually create a very loving relationship with control. Because I actually can be in control through empowerment, through saying, you're safe, you've got this doesn't have to be hard, you've got this, you can do this, be in your power, it can be easy, let it be easy, trust yourself, trust your body, right? Affirming these things to myself was me rewriting my relationship with control. So in the past, it's like, no, you can't feel this. No, this isn't good. No, shove it down, right? Suppress it. Don't go there. It's not safe. That's an unhealthy relationship with control that I had, versus genuinely allowing myself to go where it is that I needed to go, while also knowing letting go doesn't mean like you have absolutely no control and this is going to be hard and strenuous and awful, right? It doesn't have to mean that either. And so it really helped me notice that it is safe to let go. I can release control in that way. And simultaneously, I can create a new relationship where, yes, I can be in control of the experience, but it doesn't mean that I'm resisting. It doesn't mean I'm white knuckling. It just means I'm in my fucking power. And I had discernment and I say, no, this does not have to be hard. This is going to be easy. I know who I am. I know what I'm letting go of. It's safe to do that. And so it is. So that was a really, 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 I have full body chills right now talking about it. Huge moment for me, because the mind wants to be so black and white, right? My mind before was like, I either have to fully let go or I'm in control. When it's actually like, no, I actually can have a healthy relationship and be in control, but it's not in this way that's fueled by white knuckling and shaming myself and, right, gripping on and resisting and suppressing. It's from a place of empowerment. It's from a place of choice. There's a difference between control and choice. And that's a really, really big piece. So that's what I am currently integrating right now, which was a really, really powerful experience. I have so much more energy. I've also been going nonstop and hanging out with friends, so I'm kind of tired. But I know that after a good night's sleep tonight, I'm going to feel really good. And yeah, I also really set the intention to let go of any energy that isn't mine, anybody's energy, and that can come down to people in my life or people that I don't even know that I've passed in the grocery store. And I felt it energetically leave my body, and it was deep. So yeah. That was a really powerful experience. And that's currently where I'm at in my life. And that is this episode. Me sharing exactly where I'm at, the good, the bad, the uncomfortable, and letting that be exactly what it is, letting that be the message. And for any coach, or if you're not a coach, anybody that is struggling to know what to say, or like, really, I want the message here to be that you are exactly where you need to be. You're exactly where you need to be. And the message is you. It is never outside of you. It is you. It is your lived experience. You do not need to be on the other side. You do not need to tie a bow on it and say, look, isn't this pretty? Look at this thing that I just worked through. Now I'm on the other side and look how fabulous my life is. No, you can still be in the fucking mud and share from that place. And that can be the most powerful thing that you can say. And for the coaches who have a fear of, oh my God, well, what if people see me and they think that I don't have it all together? Let me tell you something. and I say this from a perspective of being a coach who shares when I don't have it all together, and also my perspective of coaches who share when they're in the shit. I I personally, when I see a coach or somebody in the online space who's sharing exactly where they're at, I'm so much more fucking inclined to tune into them. And I actually see them, like if we're talking about like authority and all that, it's like I feel more drawn to be in that person's energy than anybody else's, because I feel safe, because I feel their energy of their heart. And underneath the things that they can help me with is, I think that collectively what we're really being asked to do is to heal this wounding around vulnerability and what's underneath that for all of us. And so when I see a coach who is sharing from that place, is underneath that, it's like what we all are really after is to feel safe with being our full selves. And so surround yourself with more people, coaches, accounts, whatever it is, who you follow, with people who are giving you permission to be exactly where you are. Not necessarily like saying, oh, you don't have to do anything, right? Not in that way, but giving you permission to be where you are and letting you know, hey, you're not alone in this, me too. That is what it means to be a leader in this space, in this day and age, and in this era of the coaching industry. That's what it means, to share exactly where you're at, to let your life be the message, to not try and run, jump timelines, try and get to the other side of things, to be exactly where you are. And there doesn't have to be like a punchline. There doesn't have to be a big motivational ending to it. It can be exactly what it is sometimes, because that's healing. That's fucking medicine. Not only for the people who need to hear that, but it's also medicine for us. It's medicine for me to be showing up like this. Because now that I'm talking, I fucking cleared the blockages in my voice and in my throat. And honestly, now I have like 3 more ideas for episodes that I want to talk about when I do another solo episode. And this is what happens when we allow ourselves to speak from exactly where we're at. Everything else starts moving. But when we resist what's here, it creates more stuck energy. So of course I was in a place of being like, I don't know what to talk about. Now that I'm talking and allowing myself to be where I'm at, I feel my channel opening. So whoever needs this reminder today, and I challenge you, I lovingly challenge you and call you forward, do something that feels really vulnerable. Do something where there isn't a punchline or there isn't a thing on the other side. Have the courage to share exactly where you're at. More people need this, and you need it from you. You know that. I know that for me. And that's the episode. This was really beautiful. And for those of you who are listening and have listened all the way through, I appreciate you being here. This was so healing for me. So I appreciate you being here, witnessing, and being a part of this conversation. And I'm excited to also do more of these solo episodes. So if there's anything specifically that, Emily and I are going to start doing a couple of solo episodes here and there. If there's anything that you would like me or her to cover individually, send us a DM on our Instagram at Straight to the Point Series. You can listen to this episode either on YouTube. You can watch us face to face, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And then you can also follow us on TikTok at Straight to the Point Series. And then my Instagram is at the Truly Molly, and Emily's is at the Emily Fitz. And we will see you next time for our next episode.